Okay, we're here for week 4 today with Greg Neville. How you going, Greg?
I'm well. I am good. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, thanks. So yeah, this is the fourth week we've had Greg here on our channel, and what we're talking about today is how to psychologically survive life. Back in week 1, we spoke about the cause of stress, depression. I think we covered suicide as well, Greg.
Yep.
Week 1. Week 2, we got into the emotional links to disease, which is based on Greg's work about the psychological triggers for over 100 diseases. But from memory, Greg, I think we got into the digestive system. We spoke about cancer, in specific breast cancer and
Yeah.
prostate.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't. I was going to say we didn't have much time, but it went over about
Yeah,
2 hours, I think. But anyway, what we did there was we basically gave an understanding of the mind-body connection.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. People know what it is. They know that you're talking about the psychological influence upon health, meaning how our belief system affects cell function. That's actually what it means. But even people understanding that, they're not able to stand back, look at the human body and see life. The human body is a complete replica of all aspects of life. Okay? Now, what happens is it's enormous fun detailing that and showing each of the systems, the digestive system, the respiratory, the cardiovascular, the hormonal, whatever, right? Covering all of those and then showing which aspect of life they relate to, right? That's a lot of fun. But all we had time to do in that evening was go, right, let's pick one. Let's pick the digestive system.
Yeah,
Let's show the organs in the digestive system and let's match their function to specific abilities in life, different aspects of life, right? So we went through and did that, and we did a few other little health conditions. So it
yeah,
was like
yeah.
a general overview of it.
Absolutely. It was just the tip of the iceberg, really, wasn't it? But good
Yeah.
intro for sure. And of course, last week we covered spirituality and we spoke about some of the gurus out there and a lot of the myths and whatnot around spirituality. So
Yeah, we
that
gave one
was
of them a
a,
hard time, didn't we?
yeah,
Yeah,
specifically we
anyway.
did. You have to watch it if you'd like to know a little bit more. These are all listed in a playlist too. So if you want to go back or anything you're watching today doesn't make sense, definitely go back and watch the first, second, and third
Yeah,
interview.
absolutely. Oh, and one thing too, always remember this, right? I have a go at things. And
Yeah,
what I mean is I don't have a go at trying them. I
sure.
have a go at them.
Yeah,
Meaning, right? If there's a philosophy there that I know is not correct and I know why it is not correct, I will state why it is not correct. I have a go at the philosophy, not the person, right? So even like last week, I had a go at a philosophy. Well, just so happens we were talking about Eckhart Tolle at the time,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so it's not actually having a go at him, it's having a go at the philosophy that they're teaching because I know the ramifications of that philosophy and why it's not correct
Yeah,
and why it
sure.
actually contradicts all the lessons in wisdom anyway. But so be aware of that, okay? When I'm having a go at something, boy, I'm having a go at it. I'm going to rip the threads off it.
Yeah, sure.
But what I mean is I'm going to have a go at the philosophy, not the person that has the philosophy. Why wouldn't I have a go at the person that has the philosophy? Yeah, any reason, any idea of that, Jade? Why
Yeah.
would I not have a go at the person?
Well, we definitely understand that, it's their beliefs and values about things that are dictating how they're behaving and what they're saying. And, we want to look at the underlying factors, not just
True,
the
but it's
person.
more this. I'm not going to have a go at them because it's not their fault they hold that philosophy.
Yeah, true.
It's not up to them what philosophy they hold.
Yeah.
Whoops, there goes a big one.
Yeah, that's like saying, well, someone grows up in a certain environment and they have certain characteristics and blaming them for that, like I guess a lot of people do.
Yes, that's right. So, in other words, his philosophy, Eckhart Tolle's, is a byproduct of all the factors that have ever influenced his belief system,
Yep,
right? And so, not his fault he holds that philosophy.
sure.
He couldn't have even chosen not to
Yeah,
hold that philosophy because
absolutely.
of how the brain works, etc., and belief system works. So, always remember that. It is totally okay to have a go at a particular philosophy
Sure.
as long as you give your reasons on why it is not correct.
Yeah.
And you're going to be totally okay with other people coming back and going, hang on, I think it's correct because da 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 da. Then you have a look at what they say.
For
And
sure.
if that's not correct, you give your reasons on that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's allowed in Facebook, is it?
Yeah, banned from Facebook. So
Yeah, on Facebook you're allowed to go I like, but you're
yeah,
not allowed to go don't like, and this is the reason why.
yeah,
You
sure,
do that a couple of times, people go, what are you doing? You're not allowed to do that. I go,
yeah,
what?
absolutely. So how do
Yeah.
we know if something's correct or incorrect, Greg?
Great one.
Yeah,
Brilliant question. How do we know if it's correct or not correct? Well, we better be able to explain why it's not correct.
for sure.
So your reason's got to be put in there, not to say, oh, it's not correct. Well, if you're going to say it's not correct, give why.
Yeah,
And that why will be your explanation. Okay? The why is more important. The why will give the explanation. Now, having said that, but people go, all right, how do you know your why is correct?
that's right.
Well, you give your reason why your why is correct. Don't you?
Yeah,
They ask. Now, having said that, what is a way of knowing what a lesson in wisdom is or is not? What is a way of doing it? Because I'll just say this, at the moment, this is where they're lost. So if you go and do a course in philosophy, most courses, not all,
Yeah.
heard of one, that sounded really good. But anyway, if you go and do a course in philosophy, you're not going to come out understanding life. Know why? Because basically they're going to claim that, well, there's nothing here that we can claim is correct.
yeah, right.
So the course in philosophy is going to be on, or more about, who said what, when and where and why. Or no, who said what, when and where. Not this. At the end of the course, you are going to be examined on getting it correct, which philosophies are correct. You are going to be examined, right, on which philosophies are correct. And you better get it correct. So in other words, no tests like that in philosophy.
Yeah, that's very true, isn't it? You sort of just view your opinions, and if it
Yep,
sounds
yeah,
nice or
Yep.
has some sort of link to history or somebody else's theories, then
Yeah. So what it's saying is just like saying, well, all the philosophers that ever existed, and whatever they've said, you're not going to be examined on which are correct.
Yeah, and there's a few that are respected out there and a few that are ignored, like Freud and other famous philosophers or psychologists that were regarded as being correct, and we've sort of just run with that and never questioned it, have we?
Yeah. I actually find that most of them are incorrect.
Yeah.
When when students come along, or philosophers come along, or people have read about the philosophers come along and see me, right, I say straight away, don't bother trying to tell me who said it.
Yeah, right.
I don't care who said it.
Absolutely, it doesn't
What
matter.
did they say? Tell me what they said, and I'll let you know if it's correct and why. And if it's not correct, I'll explain why. But I do not need to know who said it.
Yeah.
Right? So within it, it doesn't matter who said it. Doesn't matter if it's a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, whatever.
Who
Right?
cares?
It's what was said, is it correct, and why is it correct? Now, where can you look to find which is
absolutely.
correct or not? What's one way of doing it?
You can look at your psychology. So if you feel, comfortable going through life, you can see benefits to things that are happening. You're okay with other people. You're getting feedback right there, whether your psychology framework is accurate or not. But if you're getting feeling anger towards people, frustration about situations that are out of your control and whatnot, the chances are you might be viewing things incorrectly.
How about this one? The person turns around and says, I love to kill people.
Yeah, right. You're harming other people.
It
Yeah.
sits with me really well.
Yeah,
I love
sure.
to kill people.
Yeah.
Right? Now, he's sitting with him real well.
Sure. But it's harming other people.
Yeah, but it's sitting with him really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's a tough one.
Yeah. And I guess the
Okay.
psychology is teaching us as well, isn't it? I mean, when
Yeah.
somebody has a particular physical problem, there's a psychological element there. So
Yeah, that's where it's getting a bit more into the correct way of doing it. But I'll just do the other one. Right? What it is, right, is that have a look at psychological stress. Okay? Get to the bottom of psychological stress. This is what people don't do. Very seldom, this sounds ridiculous, but it's a fact. I don't know why I look down there. I'm down there. I should be looking here. Right. I got a little picture in the screen of me down the bottom there.
yeah,
Anyway,
I look at it
it's
too.
a fact. I question hundreds and hundreds of therapists. Right? They phone up, they want to know a bit about this, whatever. When I inquire to how much they know about the cause of psychological stress, most are just scratching the surface.
Right.
What is at the seat of psychological stress? They are not being taught. Right? Even in psychology, you can do a whole degree in psychology. I can walk up to you and go, what is at the seat of all psychological stress? You will not know. That's a fact.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, because it is not taught to that degree what is at the seat of all psychological stress.
Yeah.
There are therapists out there and psychologists out there that know the answer to that.
Yeah, right.
But it's not taught in a degree.
Sure.
Now, but you get down to understanding the cause of psychological stress, down to the seat of it, what's really down there, okay? And then have a look at the philosophies and see which philosophies reinforce that factor. Right? That factor which is responsible for all the depression, meaning that factor is at the seat of the philosophies, the concepts of life, that the belief system structure that's built upon that causes depression, suicide, etc., the fear that life's going wrong, all of those things, right? At the base of that is a particular concept. Now, when you understand what that concept is, have a look at the philosophy and see if those philosophies are reinforcing it or instead showing it up not to be true. Right? So that's one way of having a look at philosophy and which concepts of life are correct. If those philosophies reinforce the underlying factor at the seat of our psychological stress, they aren't correct. Now, there's the other way of looking at it, which is the one you were just hinting on.
Yeah,
which
right.
comes from the mind-body connection, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay? And that's where we're saying mind-body connection is where our psychological realm influences our physiology. Right? Now, in that, what we're really saying is the human body is an example of life. It is an example of life.
Yeah.
Any thoughts that dysfunction the human body, any beliefs, right, that dysfunction the physiology of the human body, which is an example of life, do not correlate with life.
Yeah, that's it.
They're not a correct understanding of what life is, the process of life. So we go into it and go, okay, the lessons in wisdom explain life. They explain the development process that we call life. The lessons in wisdom explain all the various sectors of the development process. And if you want to see all the lessons in wisdom, as I think a few weeks ago you put it, you go and look at physiology.
Yeah.
You will see all of the lessons in wisdom. Now, that does not mean you already have the answers.
Yeah, right.
It is just something you can learn from the body.
Yeah, sure.
Now,
and it's taken you over 20 years to work out these lessons, hasn't it? So that's not like
older than that, about 25 now.
Yeah, right.
So what happens is, right, because they do not have an accurate account of the mind-body connection, where they literally can see that the function of the organs, the role the organ plays, the ability it provides the body with, matches a particular aspect of life. It matches an ability within the development survival process. Because they literally can't see the match between the human body and life, they haven't yet found a means by which to test if a particular philosophy and its lessons are correct or not. That's where they're stuck. Now, when you have that correct understanding of the mind-body connection, that means you know which thoughts, which beliefs, dysfunction physiology. You're able to easily check philosophies and see if they're accurate.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the part that's really interesting. You're going, okay, they go, how do you know what you're saying is correct? I go, well, allows your body to run okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Your body's an example of life. And number two is it matches those lessons we're giving explain life.
Yes.
Right? So there is a means of doing it. But as yet, they're still looking for. You know, it was interesting. There's a guy, don't even know his name. That's typical of me. There's a guy in Australia at the moment, and the work that he's talking about has been on Facebook. It's been everywhere. You probably know the guy I'm talking about. But anyway, he's in Melbourne at the moment doing a whole series of lectures and things which I wasn't able to make. But it is all on the fact that the sciences now are actually showing that, cerebral whatever plasticity of the neurons, etc. There's a proper term for it.
Yeah.
Right. How that you can change your thoughts and it'll actually change the wiring of the brain.
Oh, yeah. I know the guy you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I was just reading an article today about him, actually.
What's that?
I was reading an article about him today, but the name.
Yeah, there was something on the ABC the other day that I was listening to.
Yeah.
What is he's over here saying that? They're saying, listen, right? Because of that stuff that they've found where the neurons can be changed, the plasticity, they can rewire all of that, but they've actually shown it genetically. They've actually shown in the genes that changing of thoughts, they've actually shown alters genes.
Yeah.
Right? And they've got that mapped out. They actually show it. Okay. So what he's done is they're out there literally going, right. Now, this is the thing I've been saying for a long time. Going back 10 years ago, the mind-body connection was a big thing. It was being taught in the natural therapy colleges. I had my work in several of the main natural college institutions, right? But overnight, they got thrown out.
Oh, really?
Now, yeah, they got thrown out because the natural therapy colleges wanted to take advantage of HEX fees. And the government says, well, if you're going to have HEX fees, you can't have these other subjects in your course anymore. So they very gladly threw out any of those sorts of things, right?
Okay.
Just to have it satisfying the medical profession and what they think.
Yeah, right.
Okay? Right. Now, so suddenly the next years of natural therapy students coming through hardly even knew about the mind-body connection. Anything to do with that was, oh, no, that's not evidence-based and thrown out, whatever. So that was one way. But the other way is this. Because of the incredible work of the sciences doing physiology and their incredible steps in understanding genetics more and their amazing operations and everything they're doing, that got focused on so much that people started to go, oh, well, I guess the mind-body connection really didn't have anything to do with it. Look, it's just physical. Look, we're seeing the physical components.
Yeah, I see that. So, that's like you said, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So what happened is the mind-body section side got slid out of the way for a long time because they were finding, when they looked deeper, they were finding physiological dysfunctions. Now that they've come back saying, oh, hang on, the mind is involved in creating that physiological function. Look, we can now show you, even in the genes, right? Suddenly the mind-body side's creeping back in.
Yes.
Right, and I've been saying that for a while, that's what's going to be going on. I've been actually stating it along the way. Now, that's fine.
Yeah.
But still, in the mind-body stuff, it doesn't matter how much. It's great that they're able to show, look, the mind changed a bit and thoughts changed, and look, the physiology is going back better. That's fine. They can physically show it. But they still can't do any health conditions.
Yeah, right.
Meaning, I didn't get the chance. I would have if I'd had the chance, right? But if I was, wherever that guy was doing the talk, if I'd had the chance, I would have got up and said, magnificent. Would agree with all it. Fantastic. Because now you can show them the mind is having effect, but can I ask you one question? And the question would be, can you please explain the psychological trigger to a particular health condition?
Right.
And the answer, the response would be, which one? And I go, I don't care. Any. Pick one.
Yeah.
And explain the psychological trigger to that condition. And I know they will not be able to do it.
Yeah, right.
Because that's the component they still don't have. Right? So their advancements in being able to show the effect, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But you've got to actually understand the mind-body connection and understand which aspect, the psychological realm, is where the belief system is, that the beliefs that actually trigger the particular conditions. All of that they can't do yet.
Yeah.
Right? But that's the next part. All that we know, we've already got it.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But that's the next phase of it. But it's good. It's exciting because it's all coming back that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the part with tonight, the one we're doing tonight is that one of how to psychologically survive life and all that realm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just before we started here, I had a little bit of a chat here with Jade, and I said, listen, I had an interesting thing happen to me a long time ago. This is quite a number of years ago, where I was at someone's place, and I was looking on the shelves, right, and I noticed that there was a whole lot of books on life coaching. Oh, awesome, right? And they were manuals, right? And I saw a certificate, and I go, okay, right, well, this person's a life coach. So I said to her, this is great. I said, you're obviously a life coach. She goes, yeah, I am. I said, wow. And I said, well, I'm sort of in the same field. She goes, really? I said, yeah. I said, well, a little bit of a difference. She goes, what? And I said, well, in typical life coaching, a life coach sees their role to be, tell us what it is you want to do, and we're going to help you to get it.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, that's what we do. We help you to get whatever you want. And I said, well, mine's a bit different. I help people to psychologically survive life. And she went,
Yeah.
And she went, what a concept. What a concept. As if she'd never even heard the concept of helping them to psychologically survive life. Because why? Because there was all about helping them to get confidence, helping to be able to get what they want. None of it was, hey, hang on, you're not the only person on the planet here.
Yes, that's right.
Right? There's other factors involved. And how are you going to handle it when it doesn't always go the way you want? What's life actually all about, really? That side was not part of the program.
Has there been any therapies out there? I mean, I've even heard the term holistic life coaching before. Is that get any better, any closer to what you're doing?
Well, it depends on if you want to listen. Have you ever heard of a holistic carpenter? You can get yourself a holistic lawyer.
Yeah, right.
I mean, now what's the other one? They've got building practitioners.
Right.
Really quite amazing. You get holistic anything.
Yeah, right.
Okay, right. Answer is this. Most of the courses that are done, and I mean this, most of the courses are done on counseling, that is holistic counseling. Most of them, didn't say all, most of them, right, teach the incorrect spiritual concepts that reinforce the underlying factors at the seat of psychological stress. So no, most of the typical holistic counseling programs do not teach the lessons in wisdom. They don't. Well, go into one of the courses and start asking them some questions. Ask them what a person's value is correctly measured by, see if they can give you an answer. Ask them to explain the specific reason why it is impossible for anyone's life to go down an incorrect path. The factor, right, that shows that. I could throw, so many questions at you, they have no answers for whatsoever because of incorrect philosophies. And now most of them, not all of them, most of them will go, oh, there's no reality anyway.
Yeah, right.
What's your reality is your reality. What's my gosh, I was going to say, my God, there's a topic. Yeah. But anyway, out of it, it's so easy to show examples that disprove that straight away. There's no reality. What's your reality is your reality. What's my reality? They don't realize how many of the lessons in wisdom that contradicts.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. Whenever they start talking about quantum physics specifically, there's atomic particles and, therefore it doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, how about this one? Let's do just a second. Let's do a little bit on it, right? Because what they'll say is they'll go, you see this desk here? There is, can you see that? There is a desk there, right. Yeah. Now, they'll go, you see this desk? I'll go, yes, I can see it. They go, right, it's made of wood. I go, yeah, it's not a bad desk. They go, right, well, it's made of wood, made of chemistry. Probably, can't imagine it being any other, nowadays, yeah, made of chemistry. Sure. Right. And chemistry made of electrons and protons. Yep, I know that. And electrons and protons go deeper and deeper. They're energy fields. I go, yeah. They go, that's why it doesn't exist. Just energy floating around.
Yeah, really, we're all just energy. That's energy. This is energy.
Yeah. And I go, well, there's two things we can do here. One is we can test it and see if it exists. They go, how are you going to do that? I go, right. I get to the side, set myself up, right? Right, get the head. Go, right. If that doesn't exist and I slam my head into it, we're not going to see a bruise.
Yeah, right.
Ah! Yeah, it's a bruise. something's going on here. Right, I don't do that one, but when I tell them about it, they're very quick to go, hang on, I think something's there. Now, the other way, right, is this one, right? You can't do it this. You can go, right, okay, you're right. It's a table made of wood. Wood's made of chemistry. Chemistry made of protons, electrons. That's all made of energy fields. That's why it exists.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it exists.
I'm sure.
It's the energy fields, building up the protons, electrons, building up things, building up the wood, building up things. That's it, how it got there.
Yeah,
That's not how it got
exactly.
there, but that's how it exists. They go, geez, no one ever explained to me that way before.
I'm sure I remember you saying, Greg, that it's like saying, okay, this car engine doesn't really exist. It's pistons and sprockets and chains and bearings. It's not actually an engine at all, but it's those small components that make up the engine. It is an engine comprised of smaller parts.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it exists.
Yeah.
How about another one, right? They will say this. We may have done this the other day. We'll just quickly do it. You get three people and they see an event. They've all got a different opinion about the event. That happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Event happens, they've all got a different view of it. So you know what they do? They go, well, that means there's no reality. The event didn't exist. All that's going on is what's in your head.
Yeah, right.
All there is your own reality.
Yeah.
Now that's that principle. They go, all right, okay, good, nice. Let's put it around the other way. Huh? I go, right, let's go into the city and let's go and get a whole lot of people. I don't know. Let's get 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
Random. Let's bring them out, take them across to the park, and we're going to stand them side by side. Then we're going to get in front of them, I don't know, probably about 30 metres or so in front of them, and we're going to have a dog with us, Labrador. Right, okay. We're going to stand right in front of them, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to point to the dog. Dog will be next to me, and I'll point to the dog. And I'll go, and they'll be looking at me, and I'll go, right, what's that? Now, what do you think the chances are? How many of them do you think are going to say, it's a dog or a Labrador? How many think you're going to say that?
Yeah, most, or a high percentage, sure.
Oh, I would pretty well say 100%, and I put money on it. Right? Okay. How do they do that? If the dog didn't exist, how could 100% of them say it's a dog or a Labrador if the dog didn't exist?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they don't think about that.
Yeah.
Right? So, like I said, a lot of the concepts have been... Oh, have you ever heard the concept that, I forget when or where or what, it was some island out in the, I don't know, ocean somewhere, and, there was this natives there, they'd never seen a ship before, and there was this white man or whoever came along, and he points to the ship, but they couldn't see it. Or they couldn't see the ship.
Oh, yeah, I know the story you're talking about.
Until they were told it was there.
Yes.
Do you know how many people just take that on face value as being correct?
Yeah, I can see how they would. They'd assume, well, it's all about perception. There's some quantum physics as well that sort of people confuse and associate with that, where a particle doesn't actually come into existence until it's viewed by an observer or something like that.
Yeah. Funny thing is, standing right next to them was a tree, right?
Yeah.
The island had trees, and the mast made out of wood, right? Why wouldn't they see the boat made out of wood and the mast made out of wood and the things like that? Why wouldn't they see that? They might not know what the nearly said fuck it is, right? But they're gonna see it.
Yeah, sure.
Man, some of these, you got to understand that when you're living with humans, which we all are, life is a development process, right? People are up to different levels of understanding things. And if you didn't understand that life's a development process, you'd get really annoyed at how silly they are and what they don't know.
Yeah,
so it's a good thing we understand it's a development process.
Yeah, well,
okay,
some people do.
Yeah. But these are the things they're saying.
Yeah.
Right? And they're a joke. That's not metaphysics. That's meta messing with stuff.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Metaphysics explains reality. It actually just goes deeper than normal physics.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't explain that nothing's there. It explains what this stuff we're seeing is made of.
Yeah, for sure.
How it all works.
So, Greg, just even covering these basic points here, we can agree that definitely people are pretty confused. We can't agree on what's correct and incorrect. We don't even want to talk about it because that's too taboo.
Yeah.
What are some lessons in wisdom we can share with people? And let's look at, I guess, some of the problems in society that you encounter all the time as a practitioner.
Yeah, what we should do is we should have this one about psychologically surviving life can really lead into addictions. Let's have a talk about that.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do that component of it, right? Because in society, wow, addictions are big things,
Yeah, absolutely.
rampant. But how much do you know about addictions? How much do therapists understand about addictions?
Yeah, I actually read a counseling book recently. It was all about sort of management versus finding the core reasons about why people were using substances or trying to feel a certain way.
That's right. Now, I'll say it again. I've met so many therapists that do understand addictions.
Yeah, right.
I've met hundreds more that have no idea whatsoever. Okay? Many are lost to understand addictions.
Yeah.
But there are many out there that do, and they're out there. Okay? Now, so let's try and understand addictions. What is an addiction? Right? Now, with it, we say, what do you mean they're addicted? It makes it sound like they can't live without it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's see how addictions work. All right. In the first one of these that we did, going back a number of weeks ago, we explained the cause and cure of stress. We explained the if you're good, you'll get foundation philosophy to society.
Yeah.
And if you're good, you'll get foundation philosophy basically says this. We're going to get out there and we've got to live up to particular criteria in order to receive. We're going to get out there and we've got to create a particular existence in order to show that we've got something to offer, which means we're a worthwhile investment, we're valuable, and we're going to gain the approval, the love, of whoever or whatever is going to supply us with our necessities for the development and survival. The if you're good, you'll get says that to our subconscious mind every day. The if you're good, you'll get means, hey, you good? Because you are, you'll get. That means, hey, you're going to do something we think's good. Okay, what do you got? What have you done? What have you got out there and accomplished that we are going to agree is, oh, that's brilliant, you're worthwhile, yep, we'll invest in you, right, here you go, you can have this. The if you're good, you'll get does all that. So let's look at one aspect of it. One aspect of it is, okay, what do you think you've got to get out there and achieve? What do you got to live up to? What do you got to accomplish before you believe that your life is going to be considered something of value?
Right.
Right. Now, so first there's that component. And that is where you look at a person and go, right, okay, what are you trying to create with your life? What are you trying to live up to?
Yep.
Okay. Now, so, okay, you work that out. You're all right. Now, we know that's the thing that you're trying to create. You're trying to get one of them. You're trying to create that with your life. Fine. Right. What do you think the secret is to making things go that way? Because people don't only have what they're trying to make their life be. They also hold opinions on what can help and what can get in the way.
Yeah, sure. So abilities and things come into play, don't they?
Exactly. Which abilities they believe are the secret to making things go the way they want. Whichever ability that is, that's going to match a particular organ, etc., etc. Now, a particular structure. Okay. But some people think this. In order to make things go the way I want, I need a particular state of mind.
Yeah.
If I have a particular state of mind, I can make my life better. My life will go better. I need that state of mind. Which state of mind? That gets interesting. Are there different states of mind? You bet there are.
Yeah, sure.
Whichever state of mind it is that they believe they need to have. Now, they get in an addiction, right? That particular state of mind is everything to them. Right? They believe it is the secret pretty much to survival.
Yep.
Because they believe that that state of mind is going to be necessary for them to be able to work on life and end up creating the particular existence they believe their values connected to. So that gets right into, because remember this, our mind believes that if our value drops, which it's not, but it believes if it does, right, we're not going to be considered worthy of receiving. So to our mind, a decrease in our self-esteem, a decrease in our value, right? The mind believes that has us heading towards death. That's what it thinks behind the scenes.
Sure.
So what happens is people have that which they wish to create with their life, but some people believe that getting it, in order to get it, they're going to need to be thinking a certain way. They need to have a particular state of mind. Each of the various types of addictions feed different states of mind. So the first thing you need to understand about addictions is they are taking the substance in order to gain the state of mind they believe that a substance provides. And they believe they need that state of mind, right, in order for their life to continue
Okay.
the way they need it to go. Now, so what we do is we go, that's interesting. Well, I think it is. And let's do a few. Let's do a couple of common addictions and see which state of mind they're after. Now, when doing this, I don't start with alcoholism or marijuana. That line. I don't do that, right? I start with a couple of other ones, and you'll see why in a moment.
Okay.
So let's do it this way, right? Ice.
Yeah. Wow. It's a
Now,
really
you know that's the big
commonly used
rave
drug.
out there that
Yeah.
everyone's having a go at. Right?
I've seen a few people really suffer with that one.
Absolutely. Now, the person who's addicted to ice, they're going for ice because they want the state of mind, the particular state of mind, where they feel, put it that way, where they believe that they will take care of a problem if a problem exists. They believe they need the state of a mind that they will deal with a problem if need be.
Okay.
There's something that needs to be dealt with, I'll bloody go and deal with it. They believe that if they have that state of mind, their life will end up, going the way they want it to go. Why? Because they'll deal with the problem. Now,
Okay.
right, some actually get it to this point. They're going, well, I have that drug because I can function on it. I can function. I go to work, I function. Right?
That must be
saying
similar
is,
to caffeine, Greg, I'm guessing.
yeah, but it doesn't give you kidding.
Yeah.
Doesn't give you a psychotic effect, does it?
Yeah, true.
Damn close, it's so nice. But anyway, now, so in ice, they want the state of mind where they believe that they will deal with a problem. So no wonder they get very aggressive too.
Yeah.
All that side comes out of it. Now that's ice. Okay, another one, heroin. Mm-hmm. Heroin, they want the state of mind where they believe they have dealt with the problem so they can chill out now. It's all done, everything's cool, everything's fine, it's all been done.
Oh, yeah,
they're after
sense.
that state of mind. Another one.
That makes complete
cocaine.
sense, Greg. Like you already can see like the stimulants and the themes with stimulants, and then what do you call heroin? Habituate, isn't it? Or...
Not sure.
Yeah.
Don't know. Now the other one, cocaine. What do you reckon they're after? What state of mind?
I'm guessing something to do with they can face any challenge. I've noticed when people are under the influence, they're very sort of cocky and invincible almost. Like
that's a little bit more the ice. The cocaine one is this. They want the state of mind where they believe they're living the high life. That's the cocky component. I'm living the high life. I'm doing well. That doesn't mean they are, right? But they want that, they believe they need that state of mind. And when I say live in the high life, the rich and the famous, the things, the stuff, all that sort of stuff, right? Now, so they can be in that category too, but still wanting it a reassurance that they are. That's why they go for that drug of choice. They believe they need a state of mind where they believe they're living the high life.
I think it also happens to be one of the more expensive drugs out there, so I can see how that would even fit into the component.
Exactly, it does.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Next one. Now, this is when it starts to get a little bit more interesting. I covered those ones because, right, you know when people turn around and say, oh no, I take the drug because it makes me feel good.
Yeah, sure.
They can all say it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not what they're taking the drug for. That's not the state of mind.
It makes them feel good because they obtain that state of mind they think they need. Yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Meaning, that's exactly right. See, what it is it makes me feel good. That's because they're going, I got the state of mind that I needed. I I'm taking it to get a particular state of mind. But with that particular state of mind, I believe I can make my life go okay. And that feeling that I can make my life go okay makes me feel good. That's where the good part is. So that good part can fit in with nearly anything, can't it?
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that's the state of mind they're after.
Yeah, one drug could have also fit one person's needs and then made another person feel horrible, and exactly like a situation could affect them, you know?
Yes, that's right. Now, so with it, now I can do this one. Let's do alcoholism.
I'd love to hear this.
That is so easy to understand and so interesting to understand.
I bet.
There's an alcoholic cycle. Let's do it.
Okay.
Now, in alcoholism, what's going on is they got their achievement box, and in that achievement box goes that which they wish to live up to in life. The existence they want to create. Fine. Okay. Now, the alcoholic believes this. As long as we can spot the detrimental, poor quality, the flaw, the bad thing, as we can spot the bad thing, the problem, the detrimental factor, well, we can work on it, can't we? So the first thing they do is they believe that as long as you've got the ability to spot the problem, the bad thing, the poor quality factor, right, everything will be fine. Why? Because you can work on the bloody thing.
Okay.
Now, imagine if you think that is the secret to life. If you did, you'd walk around all day spotting everything you think's bad.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing. That's no good. That ain't going to help that. This is a problem. That's no good. I'm bad. This is bad. You're bad. And that's no good.
Gotcha.
Does their head in.
Yeah, right.
No one wants to be around them.
Yeah, I can see that.
They get to this point where they just this whole thing about you got to spot the bad. It sounds like the first year natural therapy student.
Yeah, right.
Can't have this, can't have that. This is bad for you. That's going to be a bad thing. That's no good, etc.
Yeah, sure.
They're a little bit more along the lines of liver and
it sounded just like liver is what I was going to say.
Yeah, it is. The spotting of the poor building block.
Yeah.
Right? The thing that's no good for building, right? That's, yes, the liver component. If we view the factor as a threat, then it's more of an immune system component, right? But this is the spot the flaws, the poor quality factor, right? We call them bad things, right? But it's in reference to that. Because they see that that's the secret to life, they end up seeing everything as bad, and they get to, for reasons, they get to the point where they believe, man, this is doing my head in. Not helping. What I need the state of mind where I'm seeing good in things. I'm seeing benefits in things.
Right.
I need the state of mind where I'm seeing things in a good light.
Yep.
In a beneficial light, right? Well, that's what they go for the alcohol for. I'm not saying that works. I'm just saying that's what they're going for it for. The alcoholic I'm talking about here, not the person who just has a drink. Right?
Yeah, sure.
The alcoholic is going for the alcohol in order to try and get the state of mind where they're seeing good in things, right? Benefits in things. We'll call it good, right?
Yep.
Now, okay, that sounds fine. And they're doing it for quite a while, but it starts to create a few problems. So people start to go, hey, mate, I think you're drinking too much there. Oh, well, they do. They're going to hang out with other mates, ones to drink more. No, look, everyone drinks this way. Right. So what they do, they can be in denial at the start. Eventually, the shit hits the fan. And they can get to the point of being convinced, yep, okay, you're right. It's true. I got a drinking problem. Right. Takes a while for that, but that's what I think.
Yeah.
So what do? They go, right, we're going to work on this. We're going to spot the bad things. I'm going to spot the bad things about me, my issues. But they can't do that. See, what's going on at the same time is the aspects of their life that aren't going the way they want, and they've got their value connected to it, they're in a state where they believe their value is dropping. And to the psyche, if your value drops too much, you die. So what happens is, as they go, right, we're going to get this fixed. We've got to look at the bad things about myself. They can't do that because if they go to do that, they feel their self-esteem dropping a bit more.
Right.
And they can't do that. It's too deadly. So instead, they can't do that. They go, I've got to find a way to feel better about myself, to see good in my life, it's good in myself. I need a drink. So they go and have a drink. And after the drink, they go, oh, I'm such a bad person. Oh, I've done it again. Oh, it's so bad. All right, okay, all right, I've got to work on this. I've got to spot the bad things. So as they go to try and work on their issues, they can't. Why? Because their value is dropping more.
Oh my God, that's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, so they go, I can't do that. I need to find a way to feel good about myself. It seems so good. I need a drink. There's a cycle. That is the alcoholic cycle.
Okay.
It is always there. They can even get to the point they go in the morning, gotta have a drink. Why? So I don't end up feeling bad about myself. Right?
Right.
So that's the alcoholic cycle that goes on.
I remember you saying something about alcohol when I met you, Greg, that you didn't agree with consuming it because it went against the purpose of life or something like that, like to do with brain
Ugh.
cells and
No, it
development.
wasn't me, not for that one.
No?
No, for me, the reason why I don't agree with drinking it, for me, is I don't need it.
Yeah, right. That's
I
a
don't
good
need it.
point.
I have fun with
Yeah,
this thing.
for
This
sure.
thing here is fun.
Like to have a clear mind and use your brain versus the need to
Yeah,
numb it.
attached to itself all the time. No,
Yeah,
yeah. In other words, I'm not scared of my mind.
yeah.
If I have an issue, I have a look at it. It's interesting. Imagine
Good
all the
point.
things that could pop into my head when you consider all the stories I've heard in life.
Yeah, true.
Man, right? So, but that's fine. Whatever pops in there is interesting. If there's any issues there, hey, you work on them. You help, you work on whatever. It's fun, right? I don't have this, hey, you're such a bad guy and beat yourself up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a big difference,
You know what
isn't
I mean?
it?
Yeah, if I went to hit myself, I get out of the way of it. So it doesn't work anyway,
Uh-huh.
right? So with it, right, I don't need the alcohol. I have no problems with people having a drink of alcohol. Sometimes the things they're drinking taste really nice. But if
Sure,
they're
sure.
going for the alcohol, I go, why are you going for the alcohol? I get away
Yeah.
from my brain. Why are you getting away from your brain?
Yeah, yeah, I see that.
You know. So what you do is you have a look at why they're drinking it.
I just thought, I guess I might have interpreted this without you actually saying it then, was like, I guess if we say the purpose of life is development and growth,
Yeah.
and then alcohol kills brain cells, which,
Alcohol is not the killer of brain cells.
isn't that true?
No.
Uh,
If you put into the health equation the psychosomatic side of it, the psychological side, the influence that our mind, our psychological realm plays on cell function, you put that into their research, you get a whole different picture of things,
okay.
right? Alcohol doesn't kill the liver.
Yeah, right.
The issues, the specific issues that they have towards the ability to identify the detrimental flaws, those issues affect the healthy state of the liver.
Okay,
Right?
that's big.
Not actually the alcohol. See, they don't test that. They go, okay, let's
Yeah.
look at these alcoholics and let's have a look at what they're thinking and the effect on the liver cells. They don't do that.
Yeah, no
So they go, right,
research.
the only
Yeah.
thing we can take into account is they're drinking more, so it must be the alcohol.
So
Right?
if your understandings about life and psychology are adopted on a more broad scale in the future, hopefully they'd start to put that sort of stuff into account when they're doing a research or study.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they will eventually, but that's down the track a long way.
yeah, yeah,
It's a long way down the track before that's considered into the research,
yeah,
right? At the moment, they call it stress, and they go, that's in there. But because they don't know the specific topics, they can't put that in there.
yeah. I mean, I'm always reading a lot about nutrition and exercise as well, and I can see how we cherry pick things there as well,
Yeah,
and we don't look at the whole picture
yeah,
about the
that's right. So,
philosophies people
yeah,
share
now
and whatnot.
I'm really glad you brought that up because nutrition is important. If you don't have it, you die.
Yeah, for sure.
So nutrition is very, very, very important.
Yeah,
There's a lot of great stuff out there on nutrition, right? But if your concepts on life, your issues, etc., aren't correct, right, that nutrition's pushing something uphill, okay?
yeah, right.
Meaning even your ability to absorb the nutrition and use the nutrition can be influenced by what you're thinking.
Sure, I
As we
understand
said
that.
before on the first night, we showed that if a person believes that the events that they're having aren't providing them with enough of the factor to develop their usefulness, they're going to have a lot of trouble absorbing calcium.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
remember that.
yeah, there's a whole lot of factors in there that the nutritionists aren't aware of, but nutrition's very important. But put
Absolutely.
into that mix the psychological influence upon cell function,
Yeah,
right? You see a whole different mix going on.
yeah. I can totally understand that, especially when I see people who you can look at their nutrition and say, "Wow, this is an amazing diet right here,"
Yeah,
and
and
still
how's
their
your
health
cancer going?
suffers. Yeah, still
And
their health
how's
suffers.
your cancer going?
Yeah, exactly right.
Right? They're out there saying acidity is the worst, acidity. I'm not coming back as acid,
Yeah, right.
right? You got such a bad name, Acid, man. Man, that is your name. Acid. Name your kid Acid, right? Oh, see how he goes. See how people want to hang around with him,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Acid. It's such a bad thing. It just sounds so bad.
Yeah. Well, that's all tied into the whole balance thing that's heavily adopted into everything, you know?
Yeah, acid,
Yeah.
right? So out of it, it just so happens, right, that it doesn't matter if you're acid or alkaline. That does not play a role in whether you got cancer or not.
Yeah, right.
Well, I've seen a hell of a lot of people who have been on the most alkaline diet you've ever could come across, right? And they're riddled with cancer.
Yeah, right. And I've seen people who eat horribly and do all sorts of other things, which I guess you call acidic, and they seem to live a long and fairly healthy life. So,
Yeah. So the component they're not doing is they're not doing the real component that is actually influencing the physical makeup of a cell. They're not doing that component yet. They haven't worked out what it is. But yes, diet, eating properly, etc., is very important on your health. It needs those building blocks. Without it, yes, it has an effect.
yeah, sure.
Right? But they're really what they need to do is if they if they go and look at people with the same health condition and look for the common factor that they all have that have got that health condition, the common factor they're going to find it to be a psychological component. I always find it there. Now, so it just adds something else into the mix that allows them to have a much better understanding of where all the others fit in and what health's about. And
Yeah,
actually,
sure.
what the purpose of health is. Now, but let's do another addiction. Right. Oh, yeah, just quickly on the alcohol one.
Yeah.
You've heard the phrase, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic?
Yeah, and that's like an AA statement, I think, where they
Yeah.
say, you know, they refer to themselves as I am an alcoholic, even when they're not drinking anymore. You know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? Well, what's wrong with that phrase? It's not true, but what's wrong with it?
Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Well, it's saying that people don't grow and change for a start.
That's it.
Yeah, so
That's it. Meaning, from the alcoholic cycle, there is something missing.
yeah.
What's missing?
Well, they don't understand the developmental process.
That life is a development process, yeah. Under the alcoholic framework, it's a good versus bad,
Yeah,
beneficial versus detrimental process. That's just seeing it. Look for the good, look for the bad things. Geez, I need something that helps me look for the good things, right? Under the alcoholic banner, life's about good versus bad. Nothing to do with development. The only way you psychologically survive life is if you understand that life is a development process. It is a process
true.
by which you are growing in your understanding of life. Now, with that concept, you can look at yourself, and no matter what issues you got, you can be okay about yourself because you are only human and you've still got things to learn. You can look at your life and understand that, right, you look at all your life circumstances and you can understand that all those circumstances are real life circumstances. They aren't showing anyone up to be a failure. It's not dropping anyone's value. They are just real life circumstances playing a role in people growing in their understanding of life. With an understanding of life's a development process, you have a means by which to see good in things.
That's beautiful.
That's what people need. Now, but that's alcoholism. One that's very important is the addiction to marijuana.
Yep.
Right? Now,
I have heard people say that you don't get addicted to marijuana physically. Like it doesn't have the chemical components that some of the other drugs have. Is that true?
No, it's not. They get psychologically addicted to it.
Yeah, that's an important point.
And they, I'll do it this way. They may be true. It may not have the chemical side that you get addicted to. It may be true. I don't know.
But I'm just saying that reinforces your point here that it's a psychosomatic
Yeah.
situation here.
That's right. Now, so what's going on is we go, all right, what's marijuana about? All right, marijuana is this one. How would you feel about the idea that, right, we're going to reach in here, we're going to unscrew your head, right? We're going to take it off. We're going to put there. We're going to get you another head. We're going to put it on your shoulders, and we're going to screw it back on. Right. Okay. Got a different head on your shoulders now.
Mm-hmm.
The other head is down there with all that shit going on and all the jargon going on and all the talk back and then you're having a go at you and all this. That's down there on the seat.
Okay.
This head now that's up on there doesn't have all that crap in there. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Right. That is what people, when they're addicted to marijuana, they want the state of mind where they feel that they no longer have their head on their shoulders. They no longer have all that crap going on in their head that they don't like.
Okay.
They want that gone. Right?
That sounds quite similar to alcohol. Are they a common thing to
No, the alcohol one's going, let's look for the flaws versus let's look for the benefits.
Oh, yeah, okay.
When this is completely different. This is a case of...
I've got to get out of that headspace altogether.
Without all the jargon and the shit and the crap and the things, whatever.
Okay.
Right?
Relax, so to speak.
Yeah. So what they want, right, and I'll give you a reason for it, but they want the state of mind that they're no longer caught up in their headspace, that they've got a different headspace in their head. It's nearly the same as saying, take that head off my shoulders, put another one on, please.
So flick a switch into a completely different mind frame.
Yeah. Different head.
Uh-huh.
See, what they're actually doing is, and they've got reason why they want that. Some people go, right, I need to be creative.
Yeah,
and you know all
I've
this
seen
crap
that.
going on in my mind, right? Well, all this crap going on in my mind, it's getting in the way of me being creative. Bullshit it is. The mind never gets in the way of creativity. It is the thing that does the creativity from all the stuff going on in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many people in the art world don't know that?
Yeah, true. Well, it's a common thing. Drugs have been, I guess, a lot of people say that, music never would have developed in the way it had and art wouldn't have been created if it weren't for certain drugs, but really it was still all coming through, the faculty of their brain.
It is still their brain going on there. All they need to be okay. Like for example, one of the clients that came along, addicted to marijuana, right? And for years, he'd been trying to do all the illicit drugs, all the ones, the psychedelics, whatever, trying to get an understanding of life.
Yeah, I've
because that's what he's been taught. That's what you do. Yeah, right. Well, after doing the program for about 2 months, he goes, well, I've ended up with all those things I thought I needed to learn.
Yeah, right.
That I thought you had to get rid of your head in order to learn them.
Interesting point.
That's not how it's done.
Yeah. Did you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Deepak Chopra. Do you know who Deepak Chopra is?
Deepak Chopra?
Yeah. Wayne Dyer, he's, I think, number 2 on the spiritual gurus of all time.
Yeah, I remember when they came out.
They both apparently had they started thinking outside the box about psychology and life from LSD experience.
Yeah, and they didn't need to, though.
A lot of people get caught up in that. I've met a lot of people recently that experimenting with LSD and psychedelic mushrooms and things like that.
They don't need to.
Because what they're doing is, I guess they're altering the way their brain works and coming to an understanding during that experience. Is that right? But it's not a drug that they need. It's just a different perception of what's going on out there.
It's not the drug that's causing it, right? Imagine this. Imagine that you thought that you got to take a tire off a certain way.
Yeah.
Right? And the tire comes off by putting the wheel brace on it, and you undo it, and this is how the tire comes off, right? And you're trying to do it, and it ain't coming off. But you stick with it, and you're gonna make it come off that way. Right? Okay. But you're not thinking out the box.
Yeah.
You're just staying with that. Right? So, your concepts aren't too correct here on how to get that wheel off. Someone else walks up and goes, mate, that type of car, the wheel doesn't come off like that.
Yeah.
They go, why? They go, it's a Formula friggin' 1. Don't you watch television? Right? You put one of these guns on it, you put it in there, zip, it's gone. Half a second.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they all had wheel braces. Now, so what's going on is their current concepts of what life were about weren't correct. Right? So what they do is, by taking the drug, they are perverting a part of their brain.
Yeah.
Right? But what it's doing is they're perverting the part of the brain that wasn't holding the correct concepts.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? Now, with that out of the way a little bit, right, they start to not instantly then understand it all.
Yeah, it's
They
still.
start to go, hey, maybe I should think outside the box a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they start to apply other little components into it.
Yeah.
And they start to get some different views and different things, right? And putting it together.
Yeah.
Now, so, all right, what about with mine? Did I take psychedelic drugs? Like, I know the psychological trigger to over 100 health conditions. I can tell you what's behind the cancers, the things, the stuff, right? None of that came from psychedelic drugs. It just came from the fact, right, that I didn't have the bullshit that they were coming from. I didn't have this concept of go within, you've already got the answers and all this sort of stuff, etc., that leads you completely. I didn't have that.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So it meant that the building blocks I already had and the things that were being added to it allowed me to see certain things.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
So what it is it's not the drugs that are causing them to tune into this infinite wisdom stuff. If that's what they're believing, their philosophies are going to be incorrect.
Yeah.
Right? So the drugs aren't doing it.
Yeah.
It is still the parts of their brain that are logically constructing, putting together that which they're seeing and using that data and putting it together and building things. That is what's doing it. They're not altering their brain into this state of understanding the universe and tuning in.
Yeah.
Right? But people hear that that's what you got to do. So what do? They're out there and they're into their drugs.
Yeah.
Then they can end up addicted because they think, nah, that's where the answers are. You got to use your drugs.
Yep.
Wrong way to go. Wrong understanding of it.
I also think it's interesting too. Often when people are under the influence of drugs, they have this overwhelming feeling of love for other people and strangers. And I can see how that fits in now since you've explained to me what love really means as an emotion. All they just for a moment could see that people were, good for that system and that they temporarily saw things a little bit differently, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. In other words, the component that they were upset about, the reasons why they believed that, people can be stuffing up the system and not good for it and all these things, right? Whilst they're on that state of mind, which is distorting aspects in their mind, right, they can easily hold the view that, oh, I like you now because that thing that I think is such a bad thing and you could do, no, I'm not thinking about that at the moment, so I actually like you, right?
Yeah, and then the effects wear off and they go back to their...
They can be, very much so. It can go that way, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the marijuana one, like I was saying, what's going on is they want the state of mind where they're no longer in their headspace. Mm-hmm. And it's just like saying, get my head off your shoulders, put another one on, right? Some people do it because they believe, I've said before, that they need to be creative and they don't want their logical mind getting in the way, where it's the logical mind that's actually still involved in the creative process. But anyway,
that's a good point.
The other people can do it because they're going like this. Well, I want to be able to socialize better. And how can I socialize with that person over there and work out what that person's about, right? While I got all this crap going on in my head. So many people go for marijuana to socialize because they're going, I just need to be away from all this stuff that's going on in my head. I need a different head space there, right? Mm-hmm. Not with caught up in all the jargon, so that I can actually I can relate with others. Some people, where they're depressed and they've got their mind's having a go on themselves, they go, I need a different state of mind. Why? Because the one I got at the moment is trying to beat me up. I need to get away from this thing, it's beating me up. I need a different headspace. Marijuana, that's what they're doing. They believe they need the state of mind where they feel they have a different headspace there, nearly like or a headspace free of all the other thinking and jargon going on.
Okay.
That's why they're after it. Now, marijuana and schizophrenia.
Yes, I remember you talking
about. They say there's a connection. There is a link. There is a common factor. So marijuana, they're going, see all this headspace here? I need to take it off so I can get a different headspace on there. Fine. What's schizophrenia though? What's going on in schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia was to do with wanting to look from another person's point of view and try and, I guess, understand how you should be behaving in front of them.
You got it. Very, very good. Schizophrenia. Let me explain it in a simple way. Excuse the coughing. in your brain, you've got a screen. When I say that to psychologists, they go, what? Well, it's like you got a screen. There is a proper technical way of explaining it, but for most people, the easiest way to do it is say, imagine you've got a TV screen in your brain. Now, you've got, boy, that.
It's okay.
You've got information coming in, right? Coming in through your eyes, ears, whatever. And it's coming along and it goes in and then it gets to these cells. And these particular cells, their job is to pick what's going to go on that screen. Mm-hmm. It can take that information and put it on the screen, or they can go, hey, just like when you're dreaming.
Right.
Yeah, real your dreams seem. You can see them, you're involved in them, you're there.
Yeah.
Well, what's happening there is your brain is getting information from all over different parts of your brain and bringing it along, and those cells are telling it to go on the screen.
Okay.
So these cells that are there, their job is to pick what's going to go on that screen. Mm-hmm. Now, in normal daylight, when you're awake and you're out there and you're conscious and you're looking around, all the stuff that's going out there, those cells are going, yep, your turn, you're on screen. In psychosis, in reference to schizophrenia, it's not doing that. Those cells aren't functioning properly.
Right.
What they're doing is they're putting, just like when you're asleep, they're putting all other factors around and going, hey, you better go on there.
Ah, so they could hallucinate, so to speak. So, and
Yes.
they'd see something and think it was happening in their reality, but really it's just something going on in the brain.
That's right. Those cells that direct what goes on that screen, those cells are dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. They're not putting on the screen what's really meant to go on the screen. They're putting on the screen anything from any part of the brain, putting that on the screen.
Gotcha.
They're dysfunctional. Why are they dysfunctional? Well, let's have a look. In schizophrenia, you see this also in psychosis, in manic depression, but it's for a different reason. Same thing, but a different reason they're doing it, right? I think we covered that. I'm not sure. Anyway, in the schizophrenia, it's what you said. They're going like this. I'll put it this way. They believe they can't trust their mind. Now, I'm going to say that, then I'll show you a different type in a moment.
Okay.
They believe many get to a point that due to the way their brains work, meaning due to what's happened, and they haven't been able to cope with things haven't gone the way they want, they're not sure, and they're losing that confidence, right? They get to the point where they feel they can't trust their mind. So they start to do this one. What do other people do in this situation?
Right.
What would they think is the right thing to do? How would they look at this? So their mind gets into this, how would other people view this? What would they do? What would they say? What would they think? I need to be good at reading other people's minds into what they would say and think, rather than putting into the process my opinions about what's going on, etc., etc. Now, where you see that is in psych wards, where the person with schizophrenia, in order to get out, what do you think their best method of getting out is? Well, they think.
Well, they
What do you
would
think?
be trying to behave the way that they think the practitioners would deem appropriate to let them out.
Exactly that. That's
It's a
exactly what's
catch-22,
going
isn't
on.
it?
Yeah, they actually will do that. Excuse me, this will help.
Yeah.
Now, what they're doing is they believe that the way to get out is I'm going to be very good at reading the practitioner. What does that therapist want me to say? What would that therapist think is normal? Right? They believe that if they use their own mind, right, to make their conclusions and share that, well, they're not going to get let out. Now, that's schizophrenia. Now, you got the other one, not scared of their mind. They just want a trick. For example, you can get people whereby they think, aha, I'm sneaky. And because I'm sneaky, I get things. But you know how I'm sneaky? I work out what it is they want me to say.
Oh, yeah.
So you can get some people, this is not the common one, you can get some people where they believe that you've got to have the ability to read what others are thinking and saying, not what my opinions might be, but what they want. And if you're good at reading their mind, you can be really sneaky on them and get things. That can happen. But the other type in schizophrenia is the ones that know they're lost it. They can't trust their mind anymore. And they think that using it is going to get them into trouble. It's not going to work. So they flip into the side of, can't trust my opinions on things, my conclusions of things. I've got to be good at reading other people, what they would say, what their views and points are. What that does is it dysfunctions those cells. And those cells that are supposed to put on the screen the person's conclusions about what's coming in, right? Or that information, what they're seeing, it doesn't put that on. It searches through the brain for how it believes others would act, what others would do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where's the correlation between that and marijuana? Because they say if you take marijuana for long enough, you can turn into schizophrenia.
Yeah, well, I can see that that need for the state of mind where you've gotten into a different headspace could be similar to trying to look at somebody else's point of view. Is that
That's
right?
it. Yeah, the marijuana does not cause schizophrenia. It just so happens that the topic behind the addiction to marijuana is very similar to the topic
Right.
behind the cause of schizophrenia, right? And it's exactly that. In the marijuana, they're going, I'm going to get out of my headspace in order to to be able to be creative or whatever, come up with things, etc. And in schizophrenia, they're going, I can't use my mind, my views, my opinions. I've got to be actually good at reading others. I've got to that. So see how similar it is?
Yeah, and they're completely unaware of all this, aren't they? It's like a subconscious thing dictated by their beliefs.
That's right. So, but that's the link between it.
Beautiful.
For the schizophrenia one, of course, look, behind schizophrenia is all the stuff we said the other day. The foundation philosophies, the if you're good, you'll get. That's setting up the philosophies that sit above that, which is or even at the very seat of all of it is society's concept of free will.
Yeah.
The concept that you had choice, you could have chosen to act different at that moment, which is rubbish. And that concept sets up the philosophies on life that are the if you're good, you'll get. And that sets up the you're going to get out there and create something with your life so that you can prove to us you are worthy, you're valuable of receiving, right? Which sets up the, hey, that thing that I think I need to be able to accomplish with my life, I must accomplish it or I'll have no value, etc. So they've got all of that framework sitting behind it. That is there, right? But what makes it schizophrenia is they believe that the secret to getting that thing in your achievement box, the things you want to have in life, right, is that you've got to be good at reading other people's minds, what they think is the way to go, etc., etc. That's the part that makes it schizophrenia instead of a different health condition. Now, so, what would you say to fix schizophrenia, you've got to fix their whole concept of what life's about. You've got to do all of that, all this typical stuff we do, right? And then, after dealing with all that and the other issues associated with it, you go to that one. That very one about, okay, the one where they believe they've got to be able to be good at reading other people's mind, can't trust their own perceptions, etc. What would you say to them? What would you say to the person who's in the psych ward? You taught all the other stuff to them, but they're in the psych ward and they want to get out. Okay, now they're going to be assessed. What do you say to them? They're just about to be assessed by the therapist. What are you going to say to this schizophrenia person?
Well, how they think and behave and where they're coming from currently is okay.
No, where they're coming from at the moment is not okay.
Oh yeah, true. They wouldn't be schizophrenic. Well, they don't need to think how somebody else would be thinking and try to fit into a mold as such. They need to
No, they need to be looking at life correctly or they're going to be stopped. So, no, that's not true.
I understand vaguely what would be required, but I don't know how to verbalize it.
Yeah. How about this one? Just before the therapist gets here, I want to chat to you, right? You know what you need to do? You want to get out here? The quickest way of getting out of here? Okay, yeah. All right. Okay. You might not be aware of it, but if you share, you're not going to like this, but if you share with the therapist what you're thinking, right? What you're about, what you're thinking, the therapist will know where you're at. And the therapist will be able to, right, well, you come here, right. Okay, now, I've got some lessons for you. And the therapist is going to be able to share some really good lessons for you. Yeah? Some stuff that actually makes the way you're looking at life more correct, right? And guess what? What? Then you're out of here. Right.
Oh, okay.
Rather than, right, you're going to get out of here, but trying to guess what the therapist wants, that'd be pretty tough, right?
Yeah,
your best chance is if you actually do share with the therapist what you're actually about, Because if there is something that's not quite correct in how you're looking at life, right, they can see it and they can provide you with an education that addresses that. And another thing about it is that'll actually make you feel pretty good about things too.
True.
Okay, all those voices will stop and the things and stuff and all of that. And guess what? You're out of here. They don't look at it that way. They look at it, no, if I share what I'm about, then I'm in trouble. Versus, it's about getting well. It's about looking at the belief system structure behind it that's causing the problem, right? And receiving the information that addresses that.
Okay.
So that's what they need. Now, I'm not making light of it. What I'm saying is their whole foundation philosophy of life needs to be addressed. Just like with nearly every other client that comes in.
Yeah, sure.